The Porcupine Presents has always been about storytelling, not as nostalgia and not as content, but as an experience that stays with you after the sound fades out. The shows we curate and create here, from classic radio dramas to modern audio fiction, all share one quality. They trust their audience. They ask difficult questions. They refuse easy comfort. And they linger. Occasionally, a story arrives that makes you stop what you're doing, not because it's loud or shocking, but because it quietly rearranges how you think. Pluribus was one of those stories. This video isn't a recap, and it isn't an explainer about technology. It's an attempt to sit with what the story is actually asking, about love, choice, history, and the uncomfortable possibility that some utopias may be uninhabitable for human beings. This is an essay about what good storytelling can do, when it takes its time, and when we allow ourselves to stay with it.
Most stories about humanity facing extinction follow a familiar path. An enemy arrives. The threat is unmistakable. And whatever our differences, humans recognize the danger and respond. In the War of the Worlds, the invaders are openly hostile. Survival depends on resistance. In Independence Day, annihilation forces unity. Humanity fights back.
We can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore. We will be united in our common interest. Perhaps it's fate that today is the 4th of July, and you will once again be fighting for our freedom. Not from tyranny, oppression, or persecution, but from annihilation.
Even in The Day the Earth Stood Still, where the warning is moral rather than military, the choice remains ours. Change or face destruction. In these stories, the enemy is obvious. And because the enemy is obvious, resistance is possible. Humans recognize the existential threat, and through some combination of bravery, innovation, and technology, meet the threat head-on and eventually defeat it. Pluribus takes a different route. There is no invasion. No visible violence. No moment where humanity rallies against a common foe, precisely because they don't see it as a threat. Instead, something arrives that calls itself a gift. An overwhelming sense of love, of peace, of happiness, and, quietly, the removal of the ability to take life, any life, even a lowly insect, at all.
Complaining, mind you. I did order lobster.
We apologize.
We searched a wide radius, but the only lobster currently available is live. We don't kill.
Not even a lobster?
Your chicken, fish, beef, veggies are the freshest we could find in the local markets. We do hope you enjoy.
Not just murder, not just war, but killing in any form, for food, for survival, even for something as small as picking an apple from a tree. This isn't conquest, it's pacification, and that's what makes it so much more unsettling. Because the most effective way to destroy a civilization isn't to attack it, it's to remove its ability to resist. In Pluribus, humanity isn't defeated by force. It isn't tricked into surrender. It isn't even aware that it's under threat. What's been removed is not strength, but permission. Permission to choose survival when survival requires harm. Permission to accept guilt as the price of continued life. This isn't extinction imposed from outside. It's extinction made to feel like moral progress. A civilization doesn't collapse screaming, it collapses smiling. And once resistance itself becomes unthinkable, the end no longer looks like an ending at all. It looks like peace. Whoever or whatever is sending those signals into space isn't offering a recipe for perpetual peace and happiness. It's offering a way for civilizations to consent to their own disappearance. Resistance isn't futile. It's been rendered unthinkable. It would be easy to describe Pluribus as a dystopian story. But that word doesn't quite fit. A dystopia, traditionally, is a world where something has gone wrong, where oppression, surveillance, violence, or deprivation exposes the dark machinery beneath a promised ideal. In 1984, the terror is explicit. The boot is on the neck. In Brave New World, pleasure is engineered, but individuality is sacrificed. In Gattaca, genetic perfection becomes a quiet, grinding injustice. These worlds are cruel, constrained, and suffocating, and the audience recognizes them immediately as places something has gone terribly wrong. They are warnings. Pluribus is doing something far more unsettling. It doesn't show us a horrific world hidden beneath a false promise. It asks us to consider the possibility that the promise itself is the problem. This is not a dystopia. It's an anti-utopia. An anti-utopian story doesn't argue that utopia is impossible because humans are too cruel or corrupt. It asks whether a perfect world, one without violence, hierarchy, sacrifice, or guilt, is a world human beings can inhabit at all. In Pluribus, there is no secret police, no rationing, no coercion. There is love, there is peace, there is happiness. And yet, history stops. Because history is not driven by harmony. It is driven by tension, by conflict, loss, risk, and the necessity of choosing one thing over another. A world without those pressures doesn't become a paradise. It becomes the long-sought-after, sunny uplands outside of history that social reformers and idealists have always envisioned. A place where nothing meaningful can happen, because nothing meaningful is allowed to be lost. In that sense, Pluribus isn't asking us to fear a future of suffering. It's asking us to fear a future of stasis, a world where no one can be harmed, but no one can truly act, where no one can be guilty, but no one can be responsible, where love is universal and therefore indistinguishable. This is why the show resists the usual dystopian pleasures. There are no rebels to cheer, no villains to overthrow, no system to expose. Because the system works. And that's the problem. Pluribus imagines a world that has finally escaped tragedy and quietly suggests that tragedy may have been the cost of being human all along.
I miss you, I miss you, I miss you, I miss you.
And so we come, finally, to the problem of love, the question at the center of the Season 1 finale, and the key to understanding both why the gift from the cosmos is a kind of death pact, and why Pluribus is an anti-utopia rather than a dystopia. Throughout the season, the others insist that they love everyone equally, that they love Carol's romantasy novels in precisely the same way they love Romeo and Juliet.
Do you like my books?
Oh, we love your books.
What do you love about them?
Everything. Your books are an expression of you. And we love you.
Need you to be more specific. Character arcs, plot turns.
Oh, yes. Yes. We love the character arcs and the plot turns.
Which ones?
All of them.
No offense, Larry, but I think you're bullshitting me. Sounds to me like you haven't even actually read my work.
Oh, but we have. Gosh, where do we even begin? In your first novel, we greatly admire the description of Lucasia's gown on page 2. Gossamer threads of the finest Shang silk shimmered like spun gold, as if the sun itself were showering Lucasia's shoulders with resplendent kisses. That made quite a few of us tingle.
Okay. Huh. How would you say my work compares to Shakespeare?
Equally wonderful.
You love my books as much as Macbeth? Or Much Ado?
Yes. And Henry VI, parts 1, 2, and 3.
Well, I mean, what about a crowd pleaser? Romeo and Juliet?
Wonderful. Have you read the first quarto of 1597? No, you haven't.
Carol, desperate to believe this love can still mean something personal, convinces herself, more accurately, deludes herself, into believing that Sosha loves her more. That what they share is somehow deeper or more real than the indiscriminate love the others claim to feel for all of humanity. We understand Carol's confusion because we share her assumptions about love.
It's our nature. We had to answer him.
Yeah, you had to, right? I know. Why do you have to be so fucking honest?
It's just not in us to lie to you.
Yeah, but to me, not to him.
I know this is hard to understand, but we love him the same as we love you.
No. You can't love him the same. It's not the same. It's different. He is a stranger. You barely know him. You told me so yourself. And we're... You're my chaperone.
For the others, love is equality. No one is more important than anyone else. No love can be greater than another. But that is not love. Love is not equality. It is preference. Love assigns unequal value. We value our family more than another person's family. We place our spouses above all others and bind ourselves to them alone. We choose this child, this partner, this community, this home. Love is unfair, not because it is cruel, but because it is particular. No one is entitled to another person's love because love is not a right. It is a gift, freely given, and therefore meaningful. The unnatural love of Pluribus severs all of this. It dissolves the hierarchy between parent and child, between lovers, between neighbor and stranger, between one life and another. Even the bond between human and animal is flattened into sameness. What the finale ultimately reveals is that what the others call love is not love at all, but a chemically induced state of universal contentment. A feeling without choice, a bond without cost.
Man, I'm sorry. I don't think I'm good. It's just feeling good. What does that to you?
Does what?
Like, makes you happy. Like in our bodies, what chemicals?
There's a mix. Has serotonin, dopamine, vasopressin, oxytocin, of course. Fun fact. A study of zebrafish seems to imply that oxytocin is responsible for the development of empathy in vertebrate species about 200 million years ago.
All right. I must have every happy chemical flowing in my bloodstream. I keep thinking it's going to go away, but then it doesn't. And I don't want it to.
I'm glad. And it only gets better.
Better?
In that world, love requires no decision and therefore no sacrifice. But it is precisely the act of choosing that gives love its power. Love matters because it excludes, because it binds us to one thing rather than all things. In Defense of Rash Vows, G.K. Chesterton describes the joy that comes only from choosing one thing over all others. There are thrilling moments, doubtless, for the spectator, the amateur, and the aesthete, but there is one thrill that is known only to the soldier who fights for his own flag, to the ascetic who starves himself for his own illumination, to the lover who makes finally his own choice. And it is this transfiguring self-discipline that makes the vow a truly sane thing. Chesterton understood what Pluribus quietly denies, that binding oneself is not a loss of freedom, but its fulfillment. In the anti-utopia of Pluribus, there is nothing worth choosing, nothing worth sacrificing for, nothing worth fighting for, or dying for. And without that, there is, finally, nothing worth living for.